Hi everybody, my name is Eddie Rodriguez, also known as the Blackspinner. And if you're new to our channel, what we do here is that we go through my record collection in alphabetical and chronological order. And I go through each album of each letter, and today we are doing the letter R. And as I was going through the letter R, I noticed that we're going to be going through quite a lot of different genres for the letter R. And if you're also new to our channel, you know I will go through each album and I will pick out key tracks that I find interesting and a lot of tracks that maybe you might not be too familiar with. And also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and also like us. And let's get started. We're going to get started with a hell of an album. It was a debut album released in the early 90s. Rage Against the Machine. This is a fantastic album. This might be in my top 20 when I do my top 20 of Blackspinner's vinyls. And the key tracks on here are just fantastic. Bomb Track, Killing in the Name, Take the Power Back, Let's Settle for Nothing, Bullet in the Head. Yeah. And that's all that's side one. Side two is just as good. Know Your Enemy, which also has, I did not know this, but additional vocals by the lead singer of Tool, which I found very interesting. And Freedom on this, which is a very good song. And in fact, they released a video. The first video was Freedom, which is the last track on this album here. And a key note here that I like to read, because if you've heard Rage Against the Machine, there's a lot of noise going on, and they do a little note here: no samples, keyboards, or synthesizers used in the making of this recording, which just tells you that Tom Morello is a hell of a guitar player. The bass line is great, and the drumming, and the singing, the lyrics, everything came together on this one album. And unfortunately, this is the only Rage Against the Machine that I have on vinyl. I've got the rest on CDs, and I'm still debating if I'm going to be going through my CDs. It is part of my music collection. I'm just going to have to change the title to My Music Collection. And next, we have another debut album that was released in 1975, I believe. Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow. And Ritchie Blackmore had just left Deep Purple after starting off Deep Purple and then having quite a bit of success with Deep Purple. And he was not happy with the direction they were going in when Coverdale came in and everything started to be a little bit more bluesy. But he was the focal point, so he's the one that drove it that way, and he wanted to get back to a harder sound, and which is why there was a shakeup in Deep Purple, because Ian Gillan, who was the lead singer before David Coverdale, wanted to keep the music being hard rock, and Blackmore wanted to get away from that, and that's when he made two albums, which are Bluesier Side, and then he left to make a hard rock album. And this album here is a really good debut, and this was with lead singer Ronnie James Dio, who was previously in Elf, and after a couple of albums here, he's not going to be happy with the direction that Blackmore decides to go, which will be a little bit more commercial and a little bit softer than the hard rock that they were doing, and he joined Black Sabbath. But let's get back to this album here, the debut album by Rainbow. It's hard to wonder how good this album could have been if this was released with Deep Purple. You know, nothing against the band here, but just to have Ian Gillan singing, and to have John Lord trading off on keyboards with Blackmore, and Ian Pace on drums. You know how Deep Purple just stretches things out a little bit more. That would have been interesting, but that's not what happened. So this is Rainbow, and the songs on here, you know, the classic album, classic song, Man on a Silver Mountain. Self-Portrait's a good song too, and Catch the Rainbow, of course, is good as well. The Temple of the King, and If You Don't Like Rock and Roll, and Still I'm Sad ends with it's an instrumental. So just thinking of what could have been if this was released by Mark II of Deep Purple. Just wondering. Next I have is this Rainbow album, Straight Between the Eyes. And this one here, their hard rock is starting to get a little bit commercial side, which there's nothing wrong with that, you know. But just a little bit different to what we're used to hearing from Blackmore. And this is still a really good album. Let's go with the song Stone Cold. That was the big hit on this album. Bring on the Night was also a big hit. And Tearing Out My Heart. And side 2, Mistreated. And Eyes of Fire. And the lead singer here is Jolene Turner. And a lot of people in the Rainbow camp, or big Rainbow fans, always prefer Jolene Turner on vocals for this band. And he would come back and forth. And actually, I think he would do an album with Deep Purple in the late 80s, early 90s. And next, what I have is it's hard to describe this lady. Bonnie Raitt. Great guitar player, great slide, great acoustic, great voice, and she goes from so many different genres. She goes from rock to Americana to country to a little bit of R&B, jazz influence. So she's pretty interesting. Bonnie Raitt. This is one of her earlier albums with her band. And the songs on here is Sweet Forgiveness, Gambling Man, Runaway is a really good cover of that song. 3-Time Loser, and Taking My Time. It's a really good album. If you enjoy female vocals and little laid back feel to it, you know, with a little bit more immediate sound than just kick back, then, Bonnie Raitt will be the one for you. And we all know Bonnie Raitt is one of the most legendary guitar players out there to begin with. Another album that I have by Bonnie Raitt, I think this one's called Home Plate. I gotta look just to double check. I'm sure that, Home Plate. And really, the cover should have given it away. Bonnie Raitt, Home Plate. The songs on here, Run Like a Thief, Fool Yourself, I'm Blowing Away, and Good Enough. She's not the, she doesn't write a lot of her songs. A lot of her songs are either covers or she does songs that were written for her. But nevertheless, she sounds great. Her voice is just transcending, and her guitar playing is just second to none. And the last that I have by her is called Green Light by Bonnie Raitt. And the song is on here, Keep This Heart in Mind, Can't Get Enough, and Me and the Boys, and Baby Come Back. The inside of it is with her and her band. Like I said, we're going to have a whole lot of different genres. We just jumped from Rage Against the Machine to Rainbow to Bonnie Raitt. And for Bonnie Raitt, we're going to make a big jump, a whole different genre. The Ramones. Oops. I almost gave away there. The Ramones. This one's called Ramones Mania. This is a compilation album. And it's an interesting compilation album. It's fantastic. First of all, it's a double. And this has almost anything that I could possibly need. Because right now, it's kind of hard to find. There's the double. It's kind of hard to find Ramones vinyl, or unless you go to Hot Topic and buy them. But I'm very happy with this compilation. The songs on here are "I Want to Be Sedated," "Teenage Lobotomy," "Do You Remember Rock and Roll Radio," "Beat on the Brat," "Sheena is a punk rocker, Sheena is a punk rocker now," "Blizzard Pop," which everybody knows that song if you love rock and roll. "Rockaway Beach," "I Want to Be Your Boyfriend," "Bop Till You Drop," "We're a Happy Family," and that's the first disc. The first record. The second record goes a little bit more into the late 70s, early 80s kind of vibe. Bonzo Goes to Blitzkrieg, Psychotherapy. What else is good on here? Howling at the Moon, Animal Boy, and Somebody Put Something in My Drink. Chinese Rock. The KKK Took My Baby Away, and Rock and Roll High School, which they starred in that movie called Rock and Roll High School. And the thing that I really like the Ramones is that they're a fun band. It's like they're punk music, but the lyrics of early 60s. You know what I mean? It's that 60s kind of garage rock with crunching guitars and just drums that are just going crazy. So I really like the Ramones for that kind of vibe that they have. No one else has that kind of vibe. The Ramones came out and at CBGB's in New York, and so many different bands, punk bands and new wave bands, they all came out. But the Ramones kept that edge, kept that originality to them. And we're going to go from punk to the streets of Hollywood in 82, 83, and a band by the name of Rat will take over Hollywood Boulevard along with Motley Crue. They were a pop metal band, but they were a little bit heavier than their contemporaries were. So let's start off with Rat, their self-titled EP debut. Rat. And here's the back of it. Here's the back of it with the guys. And the songs on here are fantastic. Since it's an EP, there's only going to be about 6 songs on here. And I'm trying to read this, and I really can't because the record is on the record player back there. But this does have an interesting interesting take on You Got It. And also they do a cover of Aerosmith's cover of Walk the Dog. And I wish I had my glasses on. But yeah, this is a really good, interesting album. It's a little bit heavier, a little bit more raw than what you're used to hearing Rat. And this will be their debut album. This will be their debut album that kicked down the doors for them. Rat Out of the Cellar. And if you're not too familiar, on the cover there, the model for this is Tawny Kitaen. And Tawny Kitaen, as you know, came out on the Whitesnake videos. And a little tidbit, she made she came out an episode of Seinfeld. You should look that one up. It's another episode of Seinfeld. And it's a paper sleeve. And, Stephen Pearcy just has a great voice. And the dual guitars, Robin Crosby and Warren Martini, really do stick out compared to the other pop metal bands of the era. And the songs on here are fantastic. Wanted Man, You're in Trouble, Round and Round, which we all know right now, that's taking over the commercials right now on the Geico commercial, Round and Round. Lack of Communication, and The Insane, and Scene of the Crime. So this is a really good album by Rat. And but they will, in my opinion, they will get better. because I really enjoyed Invasion of Your Privacy by Rat. And this will be their second album. And the songs on here, You're in Love, that chugging guitars by these guys. Lay It Down, Give It All, Closer to My Heart, which is a nice ballad, but the ballad still has crunching guitars on it. Between the Eyes, Got Me on the Line, and You Should Know Me by, and You Should Know Me, You Should Know By Now. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of the classic R&B song. But yeah, this is another good outing by Rat. Things will slow down a little bit for them. And the next one that I have by Rat, I skipped one. This one will be, is this Way? Yeah, this one's Way Cool Jr. This is a really good album. Not up to par with these here. They start to have a little bit of a roadblock right now. The songs on here that I like, Way Cool Jr., Don't Bite the Hand That Feeds, and Chain Reaction. And here's the inside of it. I really like this logo. That's pretty neat. And here's the band. And if y'all remember about... Oh, you know what? This is not Way Cool Jr. That's the name of the song. This one's called Reach for the Sky. I apologize. I apologize for that. This is Reach for the Sky. I should have known that. I guess I just got lost on the song Way Cool Jr. because, you know, that was the big hit on this album. But Reach for the Sky. Oh, 1,000 apologies on that. So we go from the streets of Hollywood, where there was hard rock and heavy rock, to the streets of Memphis. Otis Redding, the Doctor of the Bay. This will be released a couple of months after his death. As we all know, he did perish in a plane crash right before this was released. There he is in the back. What I like about Otis Redding is that he did write a lot of his own music. He wrote a lot of his own songs. Of course, sitting on the dock of the bay. And this was, he didn't record this whole album as a release. They had to piece together songs that were in the vault to release it. But Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, of course, is one of his, which probably is his best known song. I Love You More Than Words Can Say, Open the Door, The Glory of Love, and Tramp. And Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out, which is, of course, a standard by this time today. But this is Otis Redding. And I really don't go for that much R&B, but I really like him. He's gritty. You know, he really fits his music well. And also, I got Otis Redding in person at the Whiskey A Go Go. This will have a cover of the Rolling Stones' Satisfaction. And also, Otis Redding is the writer and the originator of the song Respect, which, of course, Aretha Franklin will make it so popular. It's one of the most popular songs. But Otis Redding is the originator of Respect. R-S-P-E-C-T. Find out what it means to me. It's Otis Redding. I Can't Turn You Loose, Pain in My Heart, Mr. Pitiful is a really good song. I'm Dependent on You, and These Arms of Mine, which is one of my wife Molly's favorite songs. These Arms of Mine it was actually also played at our wedding. And Papa's got a brand new bag, which of course is made famous by James Brown. But you know, Otis Redding does a really good singing, a good version of it. And here I have a compilation called The History of Otis Redding. And here's the inside of it. Excuse me. So the songs on here are I've Been Loving You Too Long, and again, like I had mentioned, These Arms Are Mine, Pain in My Heart, and My Lover's Prayer, and Respect. This will have all of his greatest hits, which are pretty much also on the live album, the live version. Man, this band is hot. And I believe the band is Booker T and the MGs, which is the house band for Stax Records, which is the South version of Motown, which is located in Memphis, Tennessee. And I've spoken about Stax when I was talking about a Booker T and the MG album. And if you want to know more about Stax, you can look at my episode with the letter B. Now we're going to turn gears. We are going to turn gears. Big time. Lou Reed, Rock and Roll Animal. Live album. It's a live album of Velvet Underground songs. That's why I have it. For me, Lou Reed is a hit or miss. And so is Velvet Underground for me. But he puts it all together in this package right here. Rock and Roll Animal. It's a live album. And here's the back of it. And if you want to hear Velvet Underground in its glory with a live setting by Lou Reed, and this has almost anything you would want on here. Intro, Sweet Jane, Heroin, White Light, White Heat, Lady Day, and Rock and Roll. That's about all you need. And the reason why I have this was that, well, first of all, I like it, but when I was listening to the radio, this was probably about almost 20 years ago, at night they would play the album at midnight here on the classic rock station, and I would fall asleep with it on my radio. And I was listening to what they were playing that night, and man, it was great. I was wondering, what is this? I was taken back. I knew I was familiar with these songs, but I did not know what it was until the end. Of course, they would talk about it after you heard the whole thing, and it was Lou Reed, Rock and Roll Animal. And when I finally found it on vinyl, man, I grabbed it because it's a great album. Now here, we are going to get into we're going to switch gears again. We are going to get into a college radio band, college radio, which they made very famous in the early 80s. They are a band out of Athens, Georgia. And I'm talking about REM. This will be their debut EP called Chronic Town. Little weird album cover there for REM, isn't it? And there's the back of it with Michael Stipe and Peter Buck, Mike Mills. The songs on here are 1 Million. Gardening at Night is done here for the first time. Gardening at Night will be a legendary song for them that will turn up on different compilations. But here it's in its original, Chronic Town by REM. And this will be their debut album. Now, what we need to know about REM is that they are a band that are not overrated, and they're not a band that are underrated. They're just right. They paid their dues to hit what they hit, which was almost worldwide dominance in the mid-90s. But all this started in the early 80s, 81, 82. And they worked their way up. They pretty much put out a blueprint for alternative college rock in the 80s and into the 90s. So let's continue on. Murmur by REM. Lyrics are fantastic by REM, and their jangling guitar, it's like the Birds of the 80s, if I want to go that far. Catapult is on here. Radio Free Europe. It starts off with Radio Free Europe, which is a great track. It will come out on different compilations, and it will be released differently. This is in its originality. Pilgrimage, Talk About the Passion. Man, what's really great is that you have this band just hitting all cylinders. And then you got Mike Mills with his backing vocals backing vocals that are unlike anybody else, and it's great. Perfect Circle's on here, and We Walk and West of the Fields. REM. And if you're not that much into REM and you're only into a certain point of REM, I highly recommend for y'all to take the time and give REM y'all's undivided attention. Reckoning by REM. This is a great album. This is continuing. You know, everyone always talks about how great Murmur is. Reckoning takes it a different step farther. This has, man, I wish I had my glasses on. You know, and all these are on the IRS, independent music label. Harbor Out, Seven Chinese Brothers, Time After Time, South Central Rain. Man, this is a good album. Don't Go Back to Rockville is my favorite song on this album. Don't Go Back to Rockville is probably my top. No, is it top 5? It might be top 10 of REM songs for me. On Camera and Second Guessing. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and I heard this one recently, and yeah, REM. You know, you can't say enough about this band. You know, they paid their dues, and they really took off at a certain point. Life's Rich Pageant by REM. Right here, they're starting to creep closer to mainstream. Trying to do a little bit more towards mainstream. This has Hyena. These Days. What If We Give It Away? And Fall On Me, which is another great song by them. This is yeah, Life's Rich Pageant. It's a good album, and this will lead them into their underground breakthrough. This will be their last album on IRS Records before they go big time and join Warner Brothers. This is Document. Document is Document is my favorite REM song. Favorite REM album. Document is great from beginning to end. I might even put this on my top 20. It might be in the outside looking in. We'll see. But the one that's side 2. Let's start off with side 1. Side 1, of course, starts off with the Finest Work song. Welcome to the Occupation. Exhuming McCarthy. And this also ends with It's the End of the World as We Know It. And side 2, and there was an MTV video for It's the End of the World as We Know It, and that might have been one of their first songs to hit the mainstream radio. But on side 2, they do start off with the one that I love, which is a great song. I really enjoy it, and it actually hit the top 10. With this, the one that I love was the first top 10 single. And side 2 is a whole different album from side 1. The sounds, the attitude, the way that Michael Stipe is singing, it's totally different. This has the one that I love, like I said, Fireplace. Lightning Hopkins is a really good song, and King of the Birds is really good. This album is just fantastic. This is my favorite REM album. I go back and forth sometimes, and I'll talk more about the others in just probably in the future, because I have a lot of their cassettes and the rest of their 90s output I have on CD. But the last REM album that I have is Green. This will be their debut, major label album debut. And the songs on here, you know, when I started listening to REM, this was the first album that I heard. They came out with the video stand, and I was just in high school, and then I worked my way back. Let's see here. Where's the song? Pop Song 69, of course. You are the everything. Stand in the place where you work. The Wrong Child, and I Remember California. When it comes to REM, their sounds can be, once you get used to listening to REM, their music is very comforting. You just get into a groove with them. And that's what's great about REM. And that's the last vinyl that I have for REM, and they're a good band. I really do enjoy them. REO Speedwagon. This is the only REO Speedwagon that I have. I've seen others, and I do need to pick up some more. But this is the only one that I have. You can tune a piano, but you can't tune a tuna fish. Yeah, you can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish. The songs on here, there's 2 epic songs on here, which are fantastic. Of course, Roll with the Changes and Time for Me to Fly. I mean, we all know those songs, and they're played on classic rock radio, and just the epicness of both songs. And to me, those songs have always come hand in hand. Say you love me or say goodbye, and do you know where your woman is tonight? Yeah, it's an alright album. This is one of the latest albums that I bought, so I'm not too familiar with it. I still need to go through it, but I like this band from the '60s. Paul Revere and the Raiders. This is a compilation, all-time greatest hits, and it is a double album. There's the 2 main guys from Paul Revere and the Raiders, and the songs on here are Kicks, Good Thing, Stepping Out. They do a cover of Louie Louie. Who didn't make a cover of Louie Louie in the '60s? Just Like Me, Peace of Mind, and Ups and Downs. If you like pop of the '60s, this is a pretty good album to pick up. Or check out Paul Revere and the Raiders if you want to stream it. And what I have next is I told you, we are all over the map in the R's. In so many different genres. We've already covered so many different genres. Here is a album by Keith Richards, guitar player for the Rolling Stones. Him and Mick Jagger went off to do a couple of solos, and Mick Jagger went a little bit more poppy, a little bit more dance oriented, and Keith Richards stuck to what he knew. So this sounds like what a Rolling Stones album could be in the mid to early '80s, which it's pretty good, compared to the output they were putting out at that time, because there was a lot of fighting. So Keith Richards went out and did his own thing, and he didn't do bad at all. And in fact, he's gotten a lot of accolades for his solo work. Big Enough, Struggle, I Could Have Stood You Up, Make No Mistake, Whip It Up, Locked Away. Man, I'm telling you, and on this album, he's got mainly studio session players, but Mick Taylor just come up on a couple of these songs, and so does Bobby Keys, and Bobby Keys plays the horns and the saxes for the Rolling Stones songs. And of course, Mick Taylor did play guitar for the Stones there in the late '60s through the mid '70s. So yeah, if you want to hear some Rolling Stones, you're not that a album that will remind you of the Rolling Stones that you're not too familiar with. Check out some Keith Richards solo. You'll be very surprised. I know I was. I bought it on a whim, and I said, well, let's check it out. Why not? Really enjoyed it. Now we go from the rock and roll of Keith Richards to heavy metal Riot. Riot is a heavy metal band based out of New York that was pretty much in the maybe early to mid 80s. They didn't make it that big, but that doesn't mean their music was not good. Riot, Fire Down Under. There's the guys right there in the back. Very interesting stuff if you like your heavy metal a little bit with a twist to it. Fire Down Under, Swords and Tequila. Swords and Tequila was one of their big hits. Don't Hold Back and Altar of the King and No Lies and Don't Bring Me Down. Yeah, you know what? This is a pretty solid album. Riot. You know, stream it, check it out. Let's see if you like it. And once again, we're going to switch genres. I really enjoy Lionel Richie more as a solo artist than he did with the Commodores because I really enjoy his ballads. This is his solo album, Lionel Richie. There's the back of it. And what I like about Lionel Richie is that he's a writer, producer. Everything he did on his own. And he also wrote for other people. Is that on every album? And, you know, it is on the Motown label. And the songs I like by him, like I said, are his ballads. And let's go through the songs that are on here. And remember, these are mainly written by him. If not all of them, most of them. But I want to say all of them are written by him. My Love, which is a great song. My Love, just thinking about you, baby. Round and Round, Truly is a really good ballad by him. And You Are is a really good song. You are the sun, you are the rain. It might have been 1980, a few years before he and Michael Jackson put together, you know, We Are the World, you know, the USA for Africa, which, you know, Lionel Richie was in the middle of it. Did I go through these songs good enough? Serves You Right, Tell Me, My Love, Round and Round, You Are, and You Mean More to Me. You know, the way that Lionel Richie delivered his R&B songs are just great. He's so smooth. His vocals were so smooth. Lionel Richie can't slow down, and he doesn't slow down. This is I want to say double platinum album. This was his biggest success. There's the inside of it. Oh, upside down. Lionel Richie. The songs on here, of course, the title track, All Night Long, which was a big hit for him. All Night. Penny Lover, Stuck on You, got this feeling down deep in my soul that I just can't lose. Yes, I'm on my way. I'm mighty glad you stayed. And side 2, Love Will Find a Way, the only one, and this ends with one of his best ballads, Hello. Is it me you're looking for? 'Cause I can see it in your eyes. And next is a compilation, which is a fun compilation. It's mainly ballads, but ballads done with the Commodores, called The Composer. And the songs on here, Just to Be Close to You, and Easy, which Easy like Sunday morning. There's also a cover of it done by it'll come to me. Hold on, it will come to me. This also has 3 Times a Lady, Still. Side 2 has Endless Love. Faith No More. Faith No More does a cover of Easy. And they slow it down. And they do a really good job of it. On side 2, let's get back to it. Endless Love, the duet that he took to number 1 with Diana Ross. Sail On, Oh No. And these are, you know, his bread and butter. for Lionel Richie. We're going to switch gears again for a rock and roller from the mid-60s who would take other people's songs and make them like his own. Johnny Rivers. This was a big album for him. Johnny Rivers, Live at the Whiskey A Go-Go. And this is one of the top live albums ever made. I didn't know that until recently when I was reading about it. The songs on here are Memphis, which of course is a famous song by Chuck Berry. Oh Lonesome Me is a country cover. And if you want to hear another version of Oh Lonesome Me, Neil Young does a cover of that. That is on side 2 of After the Gold Rush. Lottie Miss Claudie, Walking the Dog, Brown-Eyed Handsome Man. And he ends it with a medley of La Bamba and Twist and Shout. And I believe Johnny Rivers is from the state of Louisiana. Might be Baton Rouge or around that area. And a album by him, Johnny Rivers. This is his big album in the 60s as well. This one was called Realization. And here's the back of it. And I believe he has a Beatle cover on here. Well, let's go through them. He does a cover of Hey Joe, The Way That We Live, wider, a wider shade of pale. He does a cover of that. And also he ends it with a cover of Bob Dylan's Positively 4th Street. He does not do a Beatles song on here, but I thought that he did. It might be on something else. But yeah, there's a couple of songs that he does write on here, but mainly he does take other people's songs and kind of puts a Johnny Rivers twist on them. Now, I was at the record store probably about a month ago. Well, it was before the coronavirus. So it was probably sometime in February. And I was looking through and I found a gem. I found a complete gem. And again, this is going to be outside of the genre that I usually talk about. This is going to be another switch. This is going to go back to R&B. This is going to go to, I found Smokey Robinson's Greatest Hits. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And then when I looked at it, I turned it around, along with Marvin Gaye's, with the best of Marvin Gaye. And it turned out that it was, check this out, and I bought it for $2. It was a triple album. It was a triple album, and they go back and forth. One song will be a Smokey Robinson song, and then Marvin Gaye, Smokey Robinson, Marvin Gaye. But they do start off with, if you know anything about Smokey Robinson, it starts off with songs with the Miracles, and it goes on in chronological order. And Smokey Robinson and Marvin Gaye trade out song after song. So let's go through these songs because these are great. Like I said, it's a 3-record set. It's fantastic. Shop Around, How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You. Now, a lot of these songs are going to be some of the greatest R&B songs ever made. You Really Got a Hold on Me. Ain't That Peculiar. I Heard It Through the Grapevine. The Tracks of My Tears. That's the Way Love Is. That's just record 1. Record 2 has Second That Emotion. What's Going On. Mercy, Mercy Me. The Tears of a Clown. Let's Get It On. And Cruising. And Being With You. Being With You. And it also has the year next to the song. And it also has what number on Billboard that it peaked at. And side 3 is oh wow, now I'm looking at this a little bit closer. Record 3 is going to have Marvin Gaye's duets with Tammy Terrell. Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing, Your Precious Love, You're All That I Need to Get By, Can I Get a Witness by Marvin Gaye. And then side 2 is With the Miracles, Going to a Go-Go, I Don't Blame You at All, Love Machine. Man, this was just something to pick up. Smokey Robinson and Marvin Gaye on a triple record. Really? Yeah, we're going to switch gears again. You know, we keep going back and forth. There's so many gears. Kenny Rogers' Greatest Hits. I've had this one for years. I just love listening to his. This is going to cover mainly Kenny Rogers. God bless his soul. He passed away probably a couple months ago. But this is going to cover his most popular era. Let's say late 70s, early 80s. The Gambler, Lady, Don't Fall in Love with a Dreamer. Ruby, Don't Take Your Love to Town, which tells a great story of a man who is married to a woman named Ruby, and he comes back from the Vietnam War, and he's pretty damaged from the war, and she's still young, and she needs a man, and he cannot fulfill that need, and she starts going out and starts running the town, and like he said, if he can walk, he'd grab a gun and put her in the ground. She Believes in Me, which is another good song. Cover of the County, good song. All these songs are just great. Lucille, Love the World Away, You Decorated My Life, and Every Time Two Fools Collide. But the songs on here are just great. You know, he delivers them with so much passion, and that was the great thing about Kenny Rogers. Greatest Hits. Are we going to change gears again? Or unless David Lee Roth sings country. I don't think he does. This is David Lee Roth. Right after he left Van Halen, he left or he got kicked out. The story changes day to day. But he comes up with a pretty good band. He's got Steve Vai on guitar here. Here's the back of it. He did release an EP before this, which sometimes I want to pick it up, and sometimes I think, do I have that? And then I get home and I don't. So the next time. But there's the inside of it. There's the band. David Lee Roth. Jeez. And Steve Vai. This was produced by Ted Templeton. Ted Templeton will go on, and will not go on, but he produced almost every Van Halen album and others in the 70s and 80s. The songs on here, Yankee Rose, which was a big hit for him, and a big video back in 86. And I remember 86 because that's when I took my first trip to Flint, Michigan, and we would watch MTV a lot down there, me and my cousin Carlos. And Yankee Rose was always in the top, being played. Lady Night in Buffalo, Going Crazy, Tobacco Road, Elephant Gun. And the trouble with David Lee Roth is sometimes he'll get like a showbiz shtick to him, and that's what he does a cover of Frank Sinatra's "That's Life," and sometimes he can get a little silly. And when he can stay serious, he can make really good, solid, hard rock albums. Skyscraper by David Lee Roth. This was his second release. And this will have Knuckle Bones, Just Like Paradise. Damn Good. Damn Good's a really good song. Stand Up. Two Fools a Minute. This was produced by David Lee Roth and Steve Vai. There's the back of it. This is a really good album. I don't want to compare the albums here because they're both very, very well done. Skyscraper and Eat 'Em All could be released as a double album, and you were like, man, that's how interchangeable they are. I mean, they're almost a continuation of each other. And speaking of different genres, this guy throws in different genres on one album, and why not? He can. Todd Rundgren. This one's called Something Anything. Double album. Something Anything, double album. The songs on here, I saw The Light and Saving Grace. I Went to the Mirror. Wolfman Jack. It Takes Two to Tango. And also it's got one of his biggest hits on here, which was right? I think it does. Oh, maybe not. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, this is an interesting listen to. It's all right. I like it. Now this is the first Todd Rundgren I bought. I bought this in Austin. This is also a double album. This was more mid-70s. Now this one is a wild ride. I tell you that. His guitar playing, his keyboards, the way he produces, it's just a really good album. How about a little fanfare? The Spark of Light. The Last Ride. Heavy Metal Kids. But this has to be listened to as a piece. Not in parts, but as a piece. It's fantastic. And you know what? To go back to this Todd Rundgren one, the one from before, I thought that this had Hello It's Me, which is one of my favorite songs by him and one of his biggest hits, Hello It's Me. And I thought it was on here. Intro, Breathless, The Light, The Cures. So, I really thought it was on here. Hello It's Me. I saw The Light, of course. Takes Two to Tango, Sweet Memories, Cold Morning Light. Sorry about these guys. Sorry about this, guys. But I could have sworn it was on there. I don't want to say it's on here unless it is. Because you know how I am. Guys, I am a completist. Little. Hello, It's Me. Yes, I found it. It is on side 2 of the second record. Side 2. So yes, it's on there. Hello, It's Me is on this album. So that does conclude my letter R. I know that this was the second episode for the letter R. And the first episode was that I had done an episode with my uncle Rene when we went through the Rolling Stones. That took up the whole episode. And tonight later on I'm going to make one of Rush, which Rush is going to have its own album. Which Rush is going to have their own episode. Excuse me, their whole episode. And the reason why I'm talking fast is because I see the time on there and I know it's running long, guys. Thank you so much for hanging in there. I just had a lot to go through and I did not want to divide the R's into 4 different episodes. But as you can see, I wanted to keep R's together because there were so many different genres. We went in so many different directions, and I'm really glad that you guys stuck with me as I went through this. I really enjoy doing this with you guys. I love going through my stuff. There's some stuff I need to listen to and stuff that comes up and I go, man, I gotta listen to this before I do the show. So I'm really glad that y'all joined me, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and to like it and tell your friends about how much y'all are enjoying this channel. Thanks a lot, guys. I really do enjoy doing this. Y'all take care of yourselves and keep rocking. Good night, guys.